Right. So, what he is saying is birth and death is a cycle. Ending one means starting another. And if you ask, where do I come from? Where do I go? The answer to that is the question itself. From where? From more meditative minds, there come the other twin questions. How do I come? How do I go? This adds more mystery to the mysterious and thus the subject rests. Okay. While passing through our shorthand,
No, Shadowland.
our shadowland, those who are conscious of or who have had glimpses into into
Either
either
side.
side of the beyond say that one may solve the riddles answers and answer the questions relating to his future by analogy of the past. So probably if we are looking for questions and answers, sometime in our life the answer should be there. Is that a fair way of trying to understand this sentence?
So what does he mean shadowland? That is past whatever had happened?
Because you have
No,
got two components of existence, soul and the body.
Yeah.
Soul is the real thing, the body is the shadow.
Okay.
Okay, right? While passing through, yeah, right? These statements are so simple that when we listen to them and dismiss them without thought. Okay. It is well that we cannot solve the mystery. So I accept it. To do so might destroy our shadowland before we can live in the light. So shadowland here means the darkness, what you are not aware of, your ignorance. Or in other words, in his language alone, it is the unmanifested. It is part of Turiya. Okay. So we may apprehend whither we go by taking a glance along the perspective of whence we come from. So where are we coming from? So the answer, they are related. So let us see. After asking the twin questions, whence and whither, and how do I come and how do I go, there comes the soul awakening question. Who am I? Very well constructed sentence. When the soul has earnestly asked itself this question, it will never again be content until it knows. Who am I? Right? What am I here for? Where do I go from here? Where am I going? How do I come? And how do I go? However, I come or go through space, through time, or beyond, still, ever and always, I am I, only I. That means I am the ever consistent I. I don't change. Okay. So let us.
Immortal.
Correct. Right. So from testimony and observation, one knows that he came into the world, or at least his body did through birth, and that he will pass out of the visible world through death. Plain simple. Birth is the portal leading into the world and the entrance into the life of the world. Okay. Death is the exit from the world. Okay. Generally accepted meaning of the word birth is the entrance of a living, organized body into the world. Right? Making a lot of sense the way it is progressing. Death,
Generally.
yeah. The generally accepted meaning of the word is the entrance into an organized world. The generally accepted meaning of the word death is the ceasing of a living organized body to coordinate its life and maintain its organization. That is life and death. Okay. This, our world, with its atmosphere, the dredges of eternal substance, is as a speck floating in infinite space. Right? The soul comes from the eternal, but has lost its wings. Right? Has lost its wings and its memory while coming through the Earth's dense atmosphere. Okay. Masters, those who have joined subsequently, what we are trying to do is understand the concept of this lunar and solar germ. Okay. Right? So, this, our world, with its atmosphere, the dense atmosphere, right? The dredge, what does this dregs mean? Dredges, or what do we call this word? Batana. The remnants of a liquid left in a container together with its sediment. Nice meaning, right? Our English also is improving thanks to Mr. Percival.
Scum.
Correct.
Put the scum. Sediment. Okay.
Okay. Of eternal substance. So this is the sediments of the leftovers. Okay. Is as a speck floating in infinite space. Okay. This world is a, right. The soul comes from the eternal, but has lost its wings and its memory while coming through the Earth's dense atmosphere. Arrived on the Earth, forgetful of its true home, deluded by its vestures and the fleshy coil of its present body. It is unable to see into the beyond on either side of now and here. That means he is not able to say anything prior, he is not able to say anything later. Okay. Like a bird whose wings are broken, it is unable to rise and soar into its own element. And so the soul dwells here for a little while, held a prisoner by the coils of flesh in the time world, unmindful of its past, fearful of the future, the unknown. Beautifully, we are able to get the concept, right? Okay.
Yeah.
One question here.
Yes.
The soul plan that we read, soul knows the future
No.
lives
The
also.
soul doesn't know. When you have come to this world, you have forgotten everything. Do you
True.
know
Yeah.
what is your
No,
purpose on this earth?
no. True. What I'm talking about is that unmindful of its past, fearful of the future,
It
the
doesn't
unknown.
know. It is in darkness.
Okay.
And you
So
are controlled by
as,
this body mind, correct?
as long as this is, as long as you are on the earth, in
Yeah.
That
between the
is what
birth
he is
and the
also
death.
telling. That is exactly what he is saying.
Okay. Okay.
You have forgotten everything.
No, sir, I'm talking about the soul.
Correct. The
The
soul is now
soul,
sitting within that body, held a prisoner.
I agree, sir. I agree all those things. What all I'm talking about is that soul has more knowledge.
That it has.
So
But if I mesmerize you, you have a lot of knowledge, right? Can I hypnotize you and make you knowledgeless?
I have no idea about hypnotization at all. Probably not.
No, you will. When I control your senses,
Yeah.
right? Then you don't know where you are. The same thing is happening, right? It is held a prisoner by the coils of flesh in the time world. It
True.
doesn't know its past. It is afraid of its future. Everything is unknown. The visible world stands between two eternities as a great theater in eternity. The immaterial and the visible here become material and visible. The tangible and formless, the intangible and formless take a tangible form, and the infinite here appears to be finite as it enters into a play of life. So it is only able to see what is physically appearing to it.
Yeah. Only
And
manifested world.
anything that is intangible, it tries to see through the eyes of what it has seen tangibly. Fair?
Yeah.
Hmm.
So soul identifies itself with the body.
Exactly. And everything physical in this world.
Yeah. Okay. So soul
Okay.
forgets that it is a soul.
Correct. Now,
Okay.
the womb is the hall where each soul grows itself in the costume for its part and then launches itself into the play. Okay? Getting it?
Yeah.
The soul is forgetful of the past. The paste, the paint, the costume, the footlights, and the play cause the soul to forget its being in eternity, and it is immersed in the littleness of the play. Okay? Its part over, the soul is relieved of its vestures one by one and ushered again into eternity through the doorway of death. Now, what does this mean? Relieved of its vestures. To me, the understanding is your vesture is each of the costume, the physical body, the emotional body, the astral body, and so on and so forth. Okay? So those are the vestures, right? The soul puts on its fleshy robes to come into the world. its part over, it puts off these robes to leave the world. Which is, okay. Prenatal life is the process of costuming, and birth is the step out onto the stage of the world. Okay. The process of death is the disrobing and passing back into the worlds of desire, thought, or knowledge. So some symbols associated with that, from which we came. Any questions so far?
So he's saying we are putting all the costumes of different layers, different robes while coming into this world. While leaving, at the death,
We
we
are
just leave one by
disrobing
one.
and going. Correct. Okay.
Yeah, leaving.
To know the process of unmasking, we must know the process of masking. True. If you want to undo something, you should know how it is done. Right? To know the transformation during the passing out of the world, we must know of the transformation while coming into the world. Same thing repeated. To know the process of making or
Masking.
of putting on the
Masking.
costume, pardon?
Asking.
The process of masking or of the putting on the costume of the physical body, one must know somewhat of physiology and of the physiology of fetal development, which is where we were yesterday struggling, right? Very good.
Yeah, yeah.
I
All
tell
the
you,
medical knowledge.
universe guidance, if we really follow, right? Who asked me to get into this? Beautiful. From the time of copulation until the birth into the physical world, the reincarnating ego is concerned with the preparation of its vestures and the building of its physical body, which it is to inhabit. During this time, the ego is not incarnate, but it is in contact with the mother through the emotions and senses, either consciously superintending the preparation and building of its body, or it is in a dream state. This is what I think Robert Squads talks about: the pre-birth planning, the preparation, the first trimester of meetings between the soul and the mother to be, the child to be and the mother to be, signing a contract between them, which is the soul contract. All that is happening during this period. Clear?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. These conditions are determined by the previous development of the ego as to its powers and capacities. So this is your basically the soul plan. What have you picked up? Your AIA state, what is the composition of all the germs? Now I am able to understand what is the germs. In the form of germs, they are sitting in the AIA. That's what we read earlier, right? These are the lunar germs actually, and the solar germs. Okay, right. Each soul lives in a distinct world of its own and of its own making, which it relates to or identifies with itself. Right?
Yeah.
This is what he is talking about: the soul plan, the state of the soul, the level of consciousness. Right? The soul builds a physical body within and around a portion of itself for a sojourn, that is the journey, and experience in the physical world. Right? When the sojourn is at an end, it dissipates the physical body by the process called death and decay. During and after this process of death, it prepares other bodies in which to live in the world invisible to our physical world. Okay? But whether in the visible physical world or invisible world, the incarnating ego is never outside its own world or sphere of action. Clear?
What is this? Whether, okay, during and after this process, death prepares other bodies in which to live in the worlds invisible to this, our physical world. Prepares other bodies in which to live. That means other layers of the bodies, like mental.
No. See,
What is that?
those layers, actually you're right. Because
Yeah, cleaning.
you are leaving the physical body. Now,
Yeah.
let's recall what we read in chapter 43 of Paramahamsa Yogananda's book. So,
Yeah.
using the astral body, his Yukteswar Giri prepares his physical body in the Bombay hotel.
Yeah. With the light.
Correct.
Right? Yeah.
So, those are all the other vestiges which are there. In the astral body itself, there may be multiple levels, and they are sitting there. They are continuing their learning experience. Right?
Yeah.
Now, let's go further. After a life just ended, the ego causes the physical body to be dissolved, consumed, and resolved into its natural sources by the physical, chemical, elemental fires, and there remains nothing of that physical body except a germ.
So everything gets dissolved and into wherever it, into nature.
Correct. This
Except the
germ
germ.
is invisible to the physical eye, but remains within the world of the soul. Okay. Symbolizing the physical body, this germ appears as a glowing, burning coal during the process of death and decay of the physical body. This germ
that
is
is
there. You're not able to destroy the germ.
Yeah, that is like a radiant light.
Correct.
Energy.
Yes. But when the elements of the physical body have been resolved into their natural sources and the reincarnating ego has passed into its period of rest, the germ ceases to burn and glow. That means it is going through that state of separation and all that. That germ is left.
Yeah. And that is, cleaning process of the whatever samskaras, bad samskaras are. So in the 12 cycle period, it goes
Correct.
through after death.
Right? It gradually decreases in size until it finally appears to be a diminutive burned out cinder of an ashy color. Okay.
So slowly it decreases every birth.
Yeah, it is being reduced in its size, dimensions. Right? It continues as an ashy speck in an obscure part of the world of the soul during the entire period of enjoyment and rest of the ego. What is this enjoyment and rest of the ego? If you really look at it, right? Thinking and destiny. Where are the diagrams?
Is it not the heaven
No, it is not
where
the heaven.
soul is enjoying?
No, that is during the period of its rest and all after death, right?
Yeah.
I think it is.
Where it spends its earned good deed uh, karma phala and then returns back to the earth as a next janma.
Where are all these pictures? Let me say.
In the Wikidot, there is a chart. All the figures are in one place.
On. Okay. Is this visible to all?
Yeah.
Right. So death, then after death section, life section, all that purified, composed, peaceful and rest section.
Mm-hmm.
After being separated, he is taking rest.
Yeah.
So that is basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then I am in 8. Then 9, 10, 11, 12 and re-existence.
Mm.
Okay. So he is in the rest space. Okay. Let's go back. This is giving us a lot of clarity, correct? Which the book did not give.
Yeah.
Right? So now where is it? Okay. It continues as a period of enjoyment and rest of the ego. This period of rest is known to different religionists as heaven. That is known as heaven.
Yeah. Rest period.
Correct. When its heaven period is over and the ego is preparing to reincarnate, the burnt out cinder as the germ of physical life begins to glow again. It continues to glow and become brighter as it is brought into magnetic relation with its future parents by law of fitness. So that means that is the part of the pre-birth planning and all that meetings, soul contracts, all that activity. When the time is right for the germ of the physical to begin the growing of a physical body, it enters into a closer relationship with its future parents. In the early stages of humanity, the gods walked the earth with men, and men were ruled by the wisdom of gods. In those times, humanity copulated only at certain seasons and for the purpose of giving birth to beings. In those times, there existed an intimate relationship between the ego, who was ready to incarnate, and the egos who were to provide the physical body. Okay? Everyone?
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
When an ego was ready and willing to incarnate, it made known its readiness by asking those of its kind and order who were living in the physical world to prepare a physical body in which it might incarnate. By mutual consent, the man and woman thus approached began a course of preparation and development which lasted until the birth of the body. The preparation consisted of a certain training and a series of religious ceremonies which were considered to be solemn and sacred. They knew that they were about to reenact the history of creation and that they themselves were to act as gods in the august presence of universal oversoul.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah.
After
Got
the
it.
necessary purification and training of body and mind, and at the particular time and season suited for and indicated by the ego to incarnate, the sacred rite of copulative sacramental union was performed. Then the individual breath of each merged into one flame-like breath which formed an atmosphere around the pair. During the rite of copulative union, the glowing germ of the future physical body shot forth from the sphere of the soul of the ego and entered the sphere of the breath of the pair. The germ passed like lightning through the bodies of both and caused them to thrill as it took the impression of each part of the body. Then centered itself in the womb of the woman and became the bond which caused the two germs of sex to fuse into one, the impregnated ovum. Right? Then began the building of the body, which was to be physical, which was to be the physical world of the ego. Right? There is so much process from a scientific perspective. This way, this was the way when wisdom ruled humanity. Then childbirth was attended to by no labor pains, and the beginnings in the world knew of those, the beings in the world knew of those who were to enter. It is not so now.
Yeah.
Okay. Lust, lasciviousness, sexuality, voluptuousness, uh, animality are the present rulers of men who now desire sexual union without the thought of malignant beings who came into the world through their practices. So today they are of a different kind, basically. The inevitable companions to these practitioners, to these practices are hypocrisy, deceit, fraud, falsehood, and treachery. All together are the causes of the world's misery, sickness, disease, idiocy, poverty, ignorance, suffering, fear, envy, spite, jealousy, slothfulness, laziness, forgetfulness, nervousness, weakness, uncertainty, timidity, remorse, anxiety, despondency, despair, and death. So everything that can go negative is emanating from the thoughts and their exteriorizations in this world. Yeah? Let's go further. Death. And not only do the women of our race suffer pain in giving birth, and both sexes are subjected to their peculiar diseases, but the incoming egos, guilty of the same sins, endure greater suffering during the prenatal life and birth. Right? Page 92 in PDF editorial Zodiac. That's okay. Now let us come to this invisible germ and its behavior. The invisible germ from the world of the soul is the idea of an archetypal design according to which the physical body is built. That means that is the architecture around which the physical body is built. The germ of man and the germ of woman are the active and passive forces of nature which build according to the design of the invisible germ. So now, linking this invisible germ to the kitty of the 35 divine lessons and the mistakes committed, etc., right? Those that you have chosen become the pattern of that germ then. Ma'am, Percival's wisdom is not simple. No wonder Patriji said, this is the future of Bhagavad Gita and the world if you want to understand spirituality properly. Right? So now what is he saying? Invisible germ. When the invisible germ has come into its place in the world of soul and has passed through the flame and breath breath form is saying that the flame breath of the united pair and taken its place in the womb, it unites the two germs of the pair and nature begins her work of creation. So this is the impregnation, the germination. Right? Okay. But the invisible germ, although out of its place in the world of the soul, is not cut off from the world of the soul. When departing the world of the soul, the glowing invisible germ leaves a trail. This trail is brilliant or of lurid cast according to the nature of the being who will incarnate. The trail becomes the cord which connects the fallen invisible germ with the world of the soul. This is the silver cord then. Your higher self and soul on the earth are connected through that silver cord. Right? The cord connecting the invisible germ with its parent soul is composed of 4 strands within 3 sheets. Okay? Together they seem as one cord. In color, they vary from dull, heavy lead to a bright and golden hue.
That is aura.
Yeah. No, not aura, the color of the silver cord.
Oh, the silver cord color. Okay.
Yeah. Indicative of the purity of the body in process of formation. Now, look at the interesting part. I'm just imagining, okay? 4 worlds, 4 spheres, 4 parts of the cord. Just think, all of them have to be at the purest level. Let us understand whether what I am imagining is in the same pathway. This cord furnishes the channels which are transmitted to the fetus all the potencies and tendencies of character as they are involuted into the body and which remained as seeds, skandhas, to bloom and bear fruit as the body matures in life. And the conditions are furnished for the expressions of these tendencies. Now, that means these are dictating, these are the invisible powers which are dictating the way our life is going to progress. Getting the picture?
So basically, the transferring of the channels, all these are all our different samskaras with all the sheets.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. The 4 strands, there is not God. Oh. Oh no. This is the problem. We have to remember the page it looks like. There is no highlighting facility here.
There is no, it's not letting you.
Yeah.
I
We have
think we are
finished
on page
this.
3 or 4.
This is the one.
Yeah, here.
Okay. We'll just, somebody keep track of this number, okay?
4. We are on 4.
What is this? This is saving. Does it not have a highlighter? No. He is not allowing it here. Okay. The 4 strands which make up the cord are the channels through which passes gross matter, the astral matter. Ma'am, I was right in my thinking because each layer is connected to fire, air, water, and earth crust, right?
Yeah, 4 elements.
Yeah. So the gross matter, earth crust, the astral matter, which is the psychic plane, which is water, right? The life matter, air, and the desire matter. Okay. To be fashioned into the body. Ma'am, this is brilliant. Huh? Through the 3 sheets surrounding the 4 strands is transmitted the higher matter of the body, namely that which is the essence of bones, nerves, and glands, manas. So that means this is coming to the manasa chakra. See, in between the pineal and the crown, in the pineal and this one, that means this has to come to the Brahmarandra.
Yeah.
The marrow, buddhi, manas, buddhi, and atma, the virile principle Atma. The four strands transmit the matter, which is the essence of the skin, the hair, the nails, sthula sharira, flesh tissue, blood, prana, and fat. Let's go back a little bit to the light body.
Who is saying fat is the karma, desire?
Right now, now go back to the light body. We also studied that from the fifth dimension.
Yeah.
From the fifth
Exotonal lines.
dimension, the exotonal lines, those are all the communication parts, which is comprising this cord.
Okay.
I think I need to pass my respects. Which I don't know which master in the universe is. Maybe it is Patriji, we don't know. Right?
So he's saying marrow, buddhi. The marrow is the spinal cord, all the from the head to toe.
All that content, the combined content, this is the form, breath form.
Yeah.
Before breath form, it is elementals.
Yes.
Right?
Basically, each element is helping to form the body in certain way, and putting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Buddhi, Chitta, Hankara, they're
all of that. All of that are coming. See, Linga Sharira is your flesh tissue.
Yes, Sthula Sharira, Linga Sharira, yes. And
correct. Sthula Sharira is your calcium deficiency. No. Calcium deficiency or calcium sufficiency. Because hair is calcium. Skin is, no, skin is not calcium. Right? Okay. Right? Now, as this master, yeah, ma'am.
Yeah. No, he's saying the four strands transmit the matter together. That becomes Sthula Sharira.
Yes.
Yeah.
ये क्या है? If he has been able to envision where is he coming from? Correct? Right? As this matter is precipitated and condensed, there are produced in the mother certain peculiar sensations and tendencies, such as, for instance, as the desire for certain foods, sudden sentiments and outbursts, strange moods and longings, mental tendencies of a religious, artistic, poetic, and heroic color. Each such phase appears as the influence of the ego. This is all part of that ego, right? Of the ego, as the influence of the ego is being transmitted and worked into the body of the fetus through its bodily parent, the mother. So, all these, the glands and all that, these are causing these kind of reactions then. Right? Okay. In ancient times, the father played a most important part in the development of the fetus and guarded himself as carefully for this work as did the mother.
Wow.
In our degenerate times, the relation of the father to be, the relationship, the relation of the father to the
To the
fetus
fetus.
is ignored and unknown.
Yes.
Only through natural instinct, but in ignorance, may he now act positively on the passive nature of the woman in the development of the fetus. That is his role. Okay.
Yeah.
Every true scripture and cosmogony, right?
Yeah.
Cosmogony
Yeah.
describes the building of a physical body in its gradual development. So everything that is there. So in Genesis is taking the Christian Bible, right? The building
Yeah.
of the world in 6 days is a description of the development of the fetus. And on the seventh day, the Lord, the Elohim, the builders, rested from their labors as the work had been completed, and man was fashioned in the image of his creators. So, this is the meaning of that 7 days to create a child,
Okay.
to create a
Okay.
life, right? Very good. That is, for every part of the body of man, there is a corresponding force and entity in nature, which is the body of God, and the beings who take part in the building of the body are bound to that part which they have built and must respond to the nature of the function which that part is commanded by the incarnated ego to perform. That means the creator of each part of the body is bound to it, and we can call, because we are the incarnated ego, right? So we can call them, and that communication will pass through those four chords and all that and attract that. That is the meaning of attracting the light, the way I am able to
The
understand now, right?
4 parts and 3 sheets. Yeah.
Correct. Right? Those sheaths are very clear. There is no sheath for the causal body and all that. That means, as per this, physical body, astral body, mental body, and
Only 3 he said. That's why he said Sthula, Sukshma, Linga Sharira.
correct. Yeah, right. Now, when the fetus has been completed, it is only the building of the physical being in its sevenfold division that has been done. Sevenfold division is the chakra system,
Okay.
right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
there are 7 chakras within the body. And outside the body, as per Cindy Dale, she says there are 5 chakras outside the body,
Yes.
right? Okay. This is only the lowest world of the soul. But the ego is not yet incarnate.
Mm-hmm.
That means the doer has not yet come in.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Let us see. The fetus being
Being perfected.
perfected and having rested, leaves its physical world of darkness. From that ninth position in that circle of the 12, right? Darkness, the womb and dies womb and dies to it. ये मेरे को समझ में नहीं आया इधर का इंग्लिश. The fetus being perfected and having
No.
rested leaves its
The womb.
physical world of darkness. So physical
Means
world
it's
of darkness is the womb.
Yeah. It is
Okay,
leaving the womb and
It is
coming into
leaving the
physical.
womb. It is no more
Yeah.
existing in the womb. That is the English. Okay. Right.
Yes.
And this death of the fetus is its birth into physical world of light.
Yeah.
That is why we are light bodies. Because this
Yeah.
is the world of light. Right? A
Yes.
breath, a gas, and a cry. And through the breath, the ego begins its incarnation and is born into the born into and enfolded by the psychic sphere of its parent over soul. So that is how it is forming the psychic. Right? Okay. The ego too dies from its world and is born into and immersed into the world of flesh. So ego has now it has become the soul in the living body. Okay. ये तो मास्टरपीस है मैडम, आज कहां से आ गया पता नहीं. नहीं.
Yeah.
So okay, this we can skip. We'll continue with this. In our last article, page 1 in this PDF, a brief description was given of the perennial invisible germ of physical life, how it persists in the world of the soul from life to life, how it acts as the bond which unites the two sex germs, how it furnishes the idea on which the physical body is built. That entire section, I think I will cut short, right?
Yeah.
Is thence born into the world of physical light, and also how at the birth of its physical body, the incarnating ego is born into the flesh and dies from its place in the world of the soul, retaining the connectivity with the soul. Right? Now let us see. In the present article, will be shown the correspondence between the physical death and the physical birth, and how the process of death may be anticipated and overcome by a process of spiritual development and spiritual birth, while man is still living in the physical body, which development and birth is analogous to the fetal development and birth, and how by its birth immortality is established. Does it make sense to read this? Okay, I think it will still
No,
help us.
yeah. He's saying how to be immortal also we can achieve through certain processes.
No, preserving the germ. He says the lunar germ, if you are able to protect, you are immortal.
Yes. That is
Right.
to maintain that connection.
Can you read for a little while?
Yeah. All the powers and forces of the universe are called upon in the fashioning and building up of a human body. So he's saying all the powers and forces of the universe are called upon. That is why all these four are come. And the human body is born and is breathed into the physical world of the soul. Speech is developed. Later, the ego incarnates and self-consciousness begins to manifest.
Okay.
The body grows, the senses are exercised, the faculties developed, a few ideals and ambitions are attended by some all important little struggles, by a little joy and sorrow and pleasure and pain. Then the end comes. The play of life is over, and curtain is rung down. A gasp, the light of the breath goes out, and the actor retires to brood over his deeds and motives in the play. So we come and go again and again, alternatively, praising and abusing the wheel of birth and death, but hugging it closely all the while. So this process is occurring without our knowledge, in the ignorance. That is what happens.
Yes.
The wheel of birth and death.
Correct. No, the entire thing is birth and death only.
Yes, yes. But main thing is he's explaining how all these four nature elements get
Are
into,
undergoing the transformation at every stage.
yeah. Without, this is the knowledge, important knowledge we are gaining from this.
Correct.
Yeah.
So you want to continue?
Oh, okay. Physical death corresponds to physical birth. As the child
See
leaves
if
the
I
mother,
can sorry. Yeah.
as the child leaves the mother, breathes and is separated from the parent, so the bundle of sensations held together during physical life in the astral body, that is Linga Sharira, is at the time of death forced outward from the physical body. So at the end of the delivery time, this astral body is, it forced out of from the physical body, its vehicle. A cry, a gasp, a rattle in the throat. The silver cord that binds is loosed and death has taken place. What is this? Death of from the womb. The newborn child is cared for and protected by its parent until it is self-conscious and is able to live by its
Oh,
experiences and knowledge.
that silver cord is the placenta,
Yeah,
the
placenta.
umbilical
Yes.
cord.
Yes. Yeah. That is cut. Yeah.
Correct.
And also when is the death, that is the coming out of the womb of the mother. Okay. The newborn child is cared for and protected by its parent until it is self-conscious and is able to live by its experiences and knowledge. So the ego separated from the physical is cared for and protected by its good deeds and works in the world of its soul until it arrives at a knowledge of its state, and at the moment of choice separates itself from the sensuous desires which holds it in bondage in the desire world. That is, it is becoming separate with the ego, and he
Yes.
has its own
It is
egos
going
in
to
this.
start exercising its own ego now.
Yeah, and also the desires.
Correct.
Thus is lived the round of birth and life and death, life and death and birth again. But this will not go on forever. There comes a time when the ego insists on knowing who and what it is and what its purpose is in the world of life and death. And at one point, then he wants to realize, what is all this. After much pain and sorrow, the light begins to dawn for him in this land of shadows. Then he will see that he need not be ground down by the wheel of life, that he may be free from this wheel, even while it continues to revolve. He sees that the purpose of the turning of the wheel through the joy and sorrow. So he sees that the purpose of the turning of the wheel through joy and sorrow, struggle and strife,
Yeah.
light and darkness, is to bring him to the point where he may see how and desire to overcome the death. So basically, with this understanding, he will continue the life until his
And
death.
death. Right. He learns.
He
I
learns.
will take over. I will take over now. Thanks.
Sure.
He learns that he may overcome physical death by spiritual birth. Okay. Even as physical birth is attended by pain, so also does trivial and much labor attend him who would help on the tardy race to which he belongs by bringing about and attaining his spiritual birth and thus becoming consciously immortal. Till now, we are, yeah? So, in new fields of effort, thousands fail where one succeeds. For centuries past, thousands have tried and failed before one airship was built to fly against the wind. Right? And if
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah.
And same thing Krishna in Bhagavad Gita says, Manusharam sahasreshu yaschit kadati siddhayet. And out of so many people, one with hardship and discipline can reach me.
Correct. And if in one branch only of physical science, partial success has resulted from centuries of effort and the loss of lives, it is to be expected that many will try and fail before one of the present human race succeeds in dealing intelligently with and entering into a new world where the instruments, the material, the problems, and the results are different from those which he has been familiar. Right? That means he is learning his lessons.
Yeah.
Okay. The
And yeah,
explorer,
he
yeah,
succeeds in dealing with it.
yeah, the explorer into the new world of immortality must not be less courageous than the adventurer into new fields who risks his life and spends his substance and endures mental and bodily hardship and privation and failure in the hope of discovery.
That means he has to face all sorts of hardship and
Correct. Excellent.
Physical.
Okay. Those who have joined, are you able to follow? We have digressed from the Thinking and Destiny book and jumped into an article by Percival to understand what is this lunar germ, solar germ, and how it is related to the topic that we are reading,
Birth and
which
death.
is captured in this article, a 10-page article, right? Which is talking about the cycle of birth and death. Are you people able to follow what we are doing?
Yes, Chandraji.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, good,
That is
good.
important because that understanding is very useful, not only for this topic. What we covered is also going to make all the people who are doing spiritual tablets wonderful counselors, because even I have learnt a lot today. Yeah. So it is not different. It is not different with the one who would enter the spiritual immortal world and become an intelligent resident thereof. Greater dangers will attend him than any adventurer in the physical world, and he must be possessed of the endurance and strength and valor and wisdom and power to come with all obstacles and difficulties.
To cope with all the obstacles.
Pardon?
To cope. No,
To cope with all obstacles, I mean, he should be ready.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, even though whatever dangers comes, he has to face it.
Right. He must build and launch his bark and then cross the ocean of life onto the other shore before he can be numbered among the immortal hosts. In this journey course, in the course of his journey, if he cannot endure the jibes and the ridicule of his race, if he has not strength to withstand the fears of the weak, need, and faint-hearted, and to continue even while those engaged with him fail utterly or leave him and return to the beaten track. If he has not the valor to ward off the onslaughts and attacks of his enemies, who would interfere with or prevent his work, he has not the wisdom to guide him in the greater work. That means, unless he is enlightened to accept all these, forgive all those who are, no attachment in the process of what you are undergoing, right? If he has not the power to overcome, and if he has not withal an unanswering conviction in the virtue and reality of his quest, then he will not succeed. Right?
Yeah.
But all these are acquired through effort and repeated effort. If the efforts of one life do not succeed, they will add to the success of a future life of him. Now, this is the rolling stone effect of karma and unfinished lessons.
Yes. Yes,
Right?
repeat.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, another life to
Of
learn.
one life do not succeed. They will add to the success of a future life of him who admits defeat only to renew the fight. Let the motive be unselfish and for the good of all. Success will surely follow the effort. This sentence reminds me of seek ye the kingdom of God and all shall be tied unto you. One of the traffic signals that we have. Right? Okay. In the early ages of humanity, the consciously immortal beings from past evolutions formed bodies by the union of the dual forces through their will and wisdom. And entering these bodies, they dwelt among our then primitive humanity. The Sai Babas of the world, the Buddhas of the world, etc. Okay.
Okay, in the early ages of humanity,
Correct.
consciously immortal beings from the past evolutions formed a body. Okay, they have come onto this.
Correct. The
Yeah.
divine beings in that period taught mankind that they could produce physical and spiritual bodies by uniting the dual forces within. You didn't need a male and a female in those days. Okay. Owing to natural fitness and following the instruction of the divine beings, a few of that race united the dual forces of nature within their bodies and called into existence that body in which they became consciously immortal. Even Mahavatar Baba is in that.
Yeah.
Right? But the majority continually uniting the opposite forces to produce only physical effects became less and less desirous of the spiritual and more deluded by the physical. They became more and more deluded. Then, instead of copulating only for the purpose of furnishing human bodies for the egos of their own high order and like character, they listened to the promptings of the lower entities and copulated out of season and for their own pleasure. Right? Thus were born into the world beings who were crafty and cunning, who made war against all humankind and among themselves. The immortals withdrew. Humanity lost the knowledge and memory of its divinity and of its past. Then came loss of identity. This is basically, he is talking about the evolution, Satyaloka, Satya
Yeah.
Yuga and all that, right? The 4 yugas.
Yes.
Came loss of identity and degeneracy from which humanity is now emerging. Entrance to the physical world was given to inferior beings through the doer of human passion and lust.
Through the door of human passion.
Yeah, through the door of human passion and lust. When passion and lust are controlled and overcome, there will be no door through which maleficent beings can come into the world. So only benefit will come. So these are all detrimental. Maleficent is basically detrimental forces.
Yeah.
A word that is used in astrology.
Oh, I
Malefic
see.
and benefic.
Oh, maleficent beings are detrimental.
They are negative of beneficiary.
Okay.
It is like saying that some planet is retrograde and all that.
Okay.
Yeah. What was
That
done
is
in
why.
the early... Yeah, go ahead.
Now, that is why, in this Patriji, since 30 years, everything is on a woman name, he started everything. The feminine energy needs to increase. It is increasing, he said.
So what was done in the early ages of humanity may be done again in our age. The result of ascension.
Yeah.
Through all apparent confusion runs a harmonious purpose. Humanity had to become involved in materiality that it might gain strength and wisdom and power by overcoming matter and raising it to a higher degree in the scale of perfection. Humanity is now on the upward evolutionary arc of the cycle. How many years ago did he write this book?
100 years ago. That's what I am
More than
thinking.
100. This is 1907.
At that
This
time,
article.
Yes,
Hmm?
he envisioned all this, 100 years ago.
Correct. And some must rise to the plane of the immortals if the race is to progress. Today, it stands on the upward evolutionary arc of the plane. That humanity was in its opposite and downward involutionary path. The man may enter the kingdom of the immortals, right? But whereas in the early ages, men acted naturally and spontaneously as gods because they were consciously in the presence of and with
And
the
with the God.
gods. Now we can become as gods only by overcoming all the holds humanity in ignorance and bondage, and thus earning the right to our divine inheritance of conscious immortality. Link this to the part 1 of the unified meditation that we have completed.
Yeah. So now we can become as gods only by overcoming all that holds
By
humanity in
realizing
ignorance.
that power, by remembering that power, by calling on that power to
Yeah.
our
Yeah.
day-to-day existence.
So that's
Right?
why he's saying earning the right of our divine inheritance of conscious immortality.
Correct. Right? What is the time? Okay. I may extend by 15-20 minutes because we'll complete this.
Yeah, 2 more pages.
Yeah. It was easier for humanity to become involved into matter and held in bondage than it is to gain freedom from that bondage, because bondage comes by natural descent, but freedom is gained only through self-conscious effort. Right?
Very well said. Yes,
What
very well
was
said.
true in the early ages of humanity is true today. Man can earn this immortality today as it was earned by man in the past ages. He may know, he may know of the law concerning spiritual development, and if he will comply with the necessary requirements, he will benefit by the law. Right? He
Yes.
who is informed concerning the law of spiritual development and birth, even though he will be willing to comply with all requirements, should not rush madly on when wise men stop to ponder. Right? So he should not try to become emotional about his progress. If he sees some wise men ponder, so like the pondering wise men, he should progress.
Mm.
Right? After
Comply.
becoming aware of the law and requirements, one should wait and consider well what are his ideals and duties in life before he determines to engage in the process of attaining self-conscious immortality. That means he cannot ignore any of the duties on this journey.
Yes.
Right? Okay. No real duty of life can be assumed and then neglected without incurring the consequences. One cannot make real progress in spiritual life if his present duty is left undone. There is no exception to this stern fact. With its attendant causes and phenomena, fetal development and birth into the physical world are physical examples of physical development and birth into the spiritual world. They are very similar,
Hmm.
right? With the difference that whereas physical birth is attended by ignorance on part of the parents and lack of self-knowledge on part of the child, the spiritual birth accompanies the self-conscious knowledge on the part of the parent, who becomes immortal through the development of birth of spiritual body. Right? So, the requirements for immortality are a sound mind in a healthy and adult body with the idea of immortality as the motive in a life of unselfish and living for the good of all. This is where our focus has to be. Right?
Yes.
Okay. There is in the body of man a solar germ. Because I was searching for this, right?
So it highlighted all those lunar germ
Yeah,
words.
yeah. So there is in the body of man a solar germ and a lunar germ. It is there in all, right? The lunar germ is psychic, emotional in nature. That is why he says, Females are psychic, feeling. Right? Okay. It comes from the world of the soul and represents the, I don't know what this means.
Barishat Pitri. What is that? Barishat Pitri.
Let's see. Pitris. There are 7 classes of the Deva Pitra.
7
Pitralokas.
Yeah.
He is
Pitraloka.
referring to the Pitralokas. Okay.
Mhm.
The lunar germ descends into the body once every month. Okay. With the man as well as woman. In the body of man, it develops into a spermatozoon. But not every spermatozoon contains the lunar germ. In the woman, it becomes an ovum. Not every ovum has the lunar germ. That means the life-bearing germs.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah.
In the woman, it becomes an ovum. Not every ovum has the lunar germ. For impregnation to take place in the production of a human physical body, there is necessary the presence of what we have called the invisible germ of the physical form, the world from the world of the soul. That cinder that has gone and rested, right?
Yeah.
That needs to be there, right? And the male germ with the lunar germ. Okay, both have to be present.
Mm.
And the female germ ovum with the lunar germ. So lunar germ is the one that keeps coming month after month.
Yeah.
And
I think, see, that
it is something that
yeah.
is coming to both the male and female. It is not just the female.
Yeah.
Okay. The male and female germs are bonded by the invisible germ and so produce the impregnated ovum. That is when it happens, right? Then follows
Yeah.
fetal development, which culminates in birth. This is the psychophysical aspect of conception and of the building of a physical body. Ma'am, this knowledge is something which is a must for spiritual doctors, no? Don't you think so?
Mm.
Right? The
Yeah.
lunar germ is lost from the body of man by the production of a physical body. If still in the body, the lunar germ is lost by copulation, and it may be lost in other ways. In case of our present day humanity, it is lost every month by both man and woman. To preserve the lunar germ is the first step towards immortality. For all bodies of man, the physical, psychic, mental, and spiritual bodies are built up from the same source and force, but the force must rise to a certain height in order to furnish a germ for the kind of body which is to be built. This is the basis and secret of true alchemy. Okay, we will see what that is. The solar germ descends into the body from the world of the soul. The solar germ is never lost so long as human remains human. The solar germ is the representative of the ego. The ego that is to enter at the time of birthing.
The Agnishwata Pitru.
Yeah. Agnishwata Pitru. Pitru is, right? Let us see.
Spirits of departed souls in Hinduism. Pitrus of the gods.
No, Pitrus of the gods. Barishad is the Pitrus of the demons. Vairagya is the Pitrus of the great ascetics. All the combinations are within us. Okay? Yeah. And is divine. In reality, the solar germs enter when the child becomes self-conscious and is renewed thereafter every year. So, this is something we need to do further research. Okay. The bodies of man and woman complement each other and are so constructed that their particular functions produce two distinct physical germs. On the purely physical plane, the body of the woman produces the ovum, which is the vehicle and representative of the lunar germ, while a male is used to produce the vehicle and representative of the lunar germ, impressed with the signature of the solar germ. Is not the solar and lunar germ connected with the Ida and Pingala?
No, according to this, I don't know. He's different. He's
I think
talking
somewhere
about.
he will establish that. He will establish that. To create a spiritual body, the lunar germ must not be lost. Okay? By living a life of purity of thought and action with the motives of immortality and unselfishness, the lunar germ is preserved and passes the gate of balance and enters the gland of what is that? Luschaka. What is the gland of Luschaka?
Okay.
In anatomy, Luschaka joints are called the unconventional, unconvertible. What is this?
Neurospinal joints.
I think will have to do more research. Okay. Yeah. And thence rises to the head. It takes 1 month for the lunar germ to reach the head from the time of its entrance into the body. After head again, I think it goes back. Right? If the purity of the body has been preserved consecutively during the course of a year, there are in the head the solar and lunar germs which stand to each other as the male and female germs in the production of a physical body. During a sacred rite, similar to the act of copulation in former times, there comes down a divine ray of light from the divine ego in the world of soul and blesses the union of the solar and lunar germs in the head. This is the conception of a spiritual body. It is immaculate conception. Then begins the growth of the spirit immortal body through the physical body. This is, I think, the awakening of the third eye. And that is the way I am able to understand. Because third eye is when, right?
Yeah.
When you have passed the relationships,
Yeah.
with love. When you have communicated all the truth, you are preparing. Then opens the third eye. Right? So let us see. The descent of the divine ray of light from the ego sanctioning the union of the solar and lunar corresponds to the presence on a lower plane of the invisible germ which blends the two psychophysical germs. The immaculate conception is attended by a great spiritual illumination. It is definitely the third eye opening, as I can follow. Then the inner worlds are opened to the spirit. Kundalini awakening, ma'am.
Correct. Yeah.
Right? Lunar germ,
Yes.
solar germ is the Ida Pingala pathway.
Yes. Correct. Yes.
Right?
That awakening is from the
Is the
Sushma.
culmination of the, and then after that it is all that yellow light as we read in that Kundalini awakening, serpent rising.
Yes, correct.
Right?
Yes.
Man not only sees but is impressed with the knowledge of those worlds. Right? Then follows a long period during which the spiritual body is developed through its physical matrix, just as the fetus was developed in the womb. But whereas during the fetal development, the mother feels only and merely senses vague influences, the one who is thus creating a spiritual body knows of all the universal processes which are represented and called upon in the fashioning of this immortal body. Just at the time of the physical birth, the breath entered the physical body. So now the divine breath, the holy pneuma, enters the spiritual immortal body so created. Immortality is thus attained.
Oh, basically now I got it. Why he's saying germ. It is because developing of the spiritual body, the spiritual birth. See, Ida
And
Pingala,
all the units have to be completely bright.
yes.
That means they have passed all the muck.
Yes, sir.
Correct.
Yeah. See, after passing all the tests and working for the humanity's good, when he is on that path, then these two, he's talking about germ. The reason he's talking about the germ is this is all happening because of the birth of the spiritual body
Correct.
from the physical birth.
Correct.
Physical birth is end. Physical birth is ending and spiritual birth is evolving. See, his terminology, that's why it's very confused. That is right. Ida Pingala, Suryanadi, Chandranadi, they are the ones. That is Suryanadi, Chandranadi, basically. That is why by doing all this breath pranayama, we can prolong our life, become immortal.
Exactly. Ah, what a wonderful this one, ma'am. Right?
Yeah.
Hats off to the universe. Wherever we are struggling, something falls, right?
Yes.
This is an amazing experience. Amazing. As far as I am concerned, it is really amazing.
It's amazing, and I think he in parentheses we must have put in simpler version the words to understand for the regular public, for the
No,
normal
but
public.
then everybody is not eligible to understand. No, that is the problem.
Yes, unless they are in this path,
Correct.
we cannot follow. Yeah.
So
See,
what
it
I
is
will
like
do, ma'am, I'm thinking of posting this in our group.
sure. I think one should read. Yeah.
Yeah. One should listen and read both.
Yes.
Absolutely. Thank you, Chandraji. Thank you, Master. It's
No,
amazing.
I couldn't really rest till I got the meaning of what is this lunar germ, solar germ. But now absolute clarity, right?
Yes.
I will listen again.
Yeah, Asha ma'am, you're saying something?
I said, yeah, it's really